Our minds are like a battlefield, and we need to be their commander, not just some foot soldier that gets sent off on some ill-advised suicide mission based on a whim or an emotion because of some random piece of information we saw. That, unfortunately, is the case with too many people these days. With Father's Day coming up, I would like to aim this particular video at those in my audience who have kids, whether they be sons or daughters. Because I think when we look at what's happening in this country through the lens of their future, we might see things a little bit differently. How many of you would counsel your kids to say, you know what? Your words are going to lose value if your actions don't match them. You can't go around preaching something and talking about something, but then when you don't think people are looking, because they always are, you do something completely different. Now, real quick, over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, we get into this kind of stuff in depth, where we bring out the actual weapons of the battlefield that are being used by the government, intelligence agencies, the mainstream media, to affect this war on the people of this country, to sway them and literally send them into harm's way, suicide missions, just with affecting your emotions. How they do it is a time-tested tactic. It's a way that has been used for literally since Bible times. And every time it's tried, it works. A lot of people think there are these satellites overhead that beam things down and affect your mind and all this kind of stuff. It's nowhere near that complicated. It's much simpler than that. We would love to have you join us at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. It's only $1, the lowest possible allowable level per month. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. There is a $5 level for those of you that want to step it up even farther. I've mentioned it before. I greatly appreciate it. Humbly. It means a great deal to me, and it makes a difference. It really does, because things are not good in YouTube land for sure. What about this? If you had the ability to sit down with your kids and say, you know what? When you get out into the real world, make sure you're sitting at the table where they're talking about ideas and opportunities and not just talking shit about other people. If you had a son and he became a leader, would you want him to be the kind of king that would attend unto wise counsel and have those around him he would listen to, even if he didn't agree with them all the time? But he would listen to their point of view, take it under consideration, then make the decision for himself, and then own that decision, whether it was successful or not, and not whine about the results or try to point fingers and blame afterwards. This here on the right is the Knight's Code: faith, loyalty, justice, charity, prudence, wisdom, temperance, resolve, honesty, benevolence, bravery, and valor. You see, I have told folks I'm going to keep the receipts. Now, it would be very easy to go to places like MSNBC or CNN, like Donald Trump does, and hear all of their emotional rantings about why they think this, that, or the other should be the direction the country goes versus another direction. In today's video, I'm going to keep the receipts of what this man, Donald Trump, in the middle, has said himself on his own platform. Nobody else, just what he has said. And I want you to, would like my audience to humbly, take that in the context of Father's Day and what you would think a good father would do. You see, narcissists will throw in your face all they've done for you, which is what Donald Trump seems to do over and over and over again, but never once acknowledge what you've done for them. You see, every day I try to say thank you for what you guys have done for me. You guys have given me an opportunity like I'd never thought I'd have. Here at the YouTube channel, at the Patreon channel, it's an amazing thing. I would have never seen it coming 10 years ago. Didn't even know 10 years ago that you could have a life doing something like this. So thank you. I always want to make sure every day I say thank you and let folks know there's an opportunity to see a different view on information and what's really coming for this country. Now, the first place I would like to stop is Donald Trump's Truth Social, his own platform where he talks about truth and his truths and the things that he retweets, the things that he promotes. I'm not going to talk about what other people are saying about him. I'm going to talk about what he's doing himself. Here's a particular case where Mr. Christie has disagreed with him. And he has taken the opportunity to, well, basically fat shame the guy. The picture on the right has been digitally altered and doctored to make Mr. Christie seem heavier than what he is. He's a heavy guy. He's a big guy. But would you do this? Would you counsel your sons to do this? If you were a good father, is that what ladies, if you married a man and you saw your husband counseling his sons to fat shame other people and laugh at people who are fat and make fun of them and then join with other people, like in this particular case, Roger Stone, at making fun of fat people, is that what a leader does? Is that what a good man does? Is that what a good father would do? Is that what you would make you respect your husband, especially if he was already a little portly himself? I mean, forget the hypocrisy. Is that the right thing to do? Is that the chivalrous thing to do? Also, we're going to continue on Donald Trump's own Truth Social, talking about what Donald Trump wants people to hear him say. He linked 2 CNN articles. I remember distinctly for years CNN was allegedly all fake news. But now here in the last month, not only had Donald Trump personally appeared on CNN, driving up their ratings and basically adding money into their pocket. It was basically a donation to CNN by appearing there. And now he's calling the governor of Florida a hypocrite for something that was said in very, very early in 2020, said out of context. And then also trying to blame the governor for the reason that homeowners insurance rates are higher. Given the fact that we get hurricanes every single year has nothing to do with it, of course. It's, of course, the governor's fault, right? Now, this thing about Fauci, the quote that he's talking about is even here at the American Bridge PAC taken out of context. Quote, you have a lot of people there who are working very, very hard, and they're not getting a lot of sleep, DeSantis said in March of 2020. Now, you have to remember, this was only a matter of weeks into the beginning of the pandemic. At a briefing on Florida's response, and they're really focusing on a big country that we have. And from Dr. Birx to Dr. Fauci to the vice president, who worked very hard, the Surgeon General, they're really doing a good job. It's a tough, tough situation, but they're working hard. He was talking about the president and the president's team. And I'm going to give you this link where you can listen to it for yourself. This is Temi.com. This is the actual audio of what was said, and he was answering a question. And this is where he's 8:15, and I think 8:15 in. There's a question that's asked. The president's gotten mixed reactions on this, and I know you guys are close. I believe you've had conversations with him. How do you rate? Now they're asking Governor DeSantis how he's rated Donald Trump's handling of this, and what has been positive as far as what he's doing for Florida. And are there any issues that you wish you could be doing more? Now, this is the governor's response to a question about what his opinion of Donald Trump's response regarding Florida to the pandemic was. Now, this is, like I said, March of 2020. This is very, very early on. No, I think he's been great for us. I mean, I think there's been more, he's had more intention on other areas, simply because those other areas have flared up more than Florida. Now, you see, at this time, it was all about the West Coast and the East Coast. This was at the time when they were sending the ships to Los Angeles and New York. So I can't fault him for that. But he's been a heck of an ally to us across the board. Once again, DeSantis complimenting Trump. Look, when you deal with this, what I think the president is able to do is overcome the bureaucracy. Any response with the federal bureaucracy, there's going to be problems. And that was true here with the CDC. That's been true with the FDA, and he really works hard to overcome that, which is very good. When you're in a situation like this, we cannot be paralyzed by bureaucratic rules. I think the president understands that, so we really appreciate his support and the task force created by Donald Trump. So here, talking about the task force created by Donald Trump, I mean, you have a lot of people there who are working very, very hard, and they're not getting a lot of sleep, and they're really focusing on a big country that we have. And from Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci, Vice President, worked very hard, the Surgeon General. They're really doing a good job. It's a tough situation, but they're working very hard. So that was the whole quote. Now, later on that year, after a whole different set of circumstances had presented themselves, and Fauci had really not done a very good job. He had gotten into it a couple of times with the governor of Florida. Donald Trump still gave him a presidential commendation. And Donald Trump's campaign has come out and said, look at these fake AI-generated photos that DeSantis has put out. Well, that was in response to this. You see, Donald Trump has been using Photoshop with people for a long time to make Chris Christie look bigger and fatter than what he is. He's used Photoshop to make himself look skinnier than what he is. And he's done this with the governor. Now, here's what Ron DeSantis said in August, 8 months after, August of 22, after Donald Trump gave Fauci a presidential commendation.
You have people like Fauci saying that his lockdowns didn't cause any permanent damage to any young kids. And I'm just sick of seeing him. I know he says he's going to retire. Someone needs to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac.
See, Donald Trump didn't say that. Donald Trump didn't say that. Donald Trump never came out against Fauci, not until the governor did. And in fact, and here it is, this is TrumpWhiteHouse.archives.gov, briefings and statements. President Trump awards presidential commendations to Operation Warp Speed team, which included General Mark Milley, Secretary Alex Azar, Jared Kushner, a guy named Dr. Moncef Slaoui, and Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci. So he gave him an award, a presidential award, on the very last day he was in office, 19 January 2021. We're just keeping the receipts, folks. That's all we're doing. And keeping with the theme of Father's Day, with the idea of how would your children react seeing you behave a certain way as a man? When you're in a relationship with any kind of a relationship with a woman, whether you're just friends, whether dating, I don't care if it's a family member, there's a certain way you behave around women in public. You don't raise your voice. You don't be disrespectful. It doesn't matter what they do. You rise above. There's a certain level of decorum you always maintain. It is never, never appropriate under any circumstances to ever verbally assault or attack a woman in public. You never physically assault her ever. If you want to have an argument about something, you do it in private, if it's worth arguing over. But you never do it in public. And many, many people, even in the conservative world, have seen this. A woman who was nothing but loyal to this man, got tossed under the bus because she actually accurately reported a poll. Mr. Trump is in a state of dementia right now. He did not understand the dates on the polling. And he was wrong in his quote here where he said, Kayleigh Milquetoast McEnany just gave out the wrong poll numbers on Fox News. She gave out the right ones. She was absolutely correct. I am 34 points up on DeSanctimonious, not 25 up. While 25 is great, it's not 34. She knew the number was corrected upwards by the group that did the poll. The rhinos and globalists can have her. Fox News should only use real stars. He had it backwards. He was up 34, and then DeSantis went there and campaigned, and he gained 9 points, which you would expect. That's normal. And she reported it, and he lost his mind. It's just something you don't do. It's just something you don't do. Real men don't do this. I don't care if it bothered him. Why would 34, 25, it's still double digits. See, it's a sign of insecurity. And it's a sign of dementia. The man is in early stage dementia right now. and Guy Benson, Britt Hume. Imagine being so immature as to attack your way younger former press secretary, who was nothing if not loyal for allegedly, which isn't even correct, misquoting a poll number. You see, this is what he looks like without makeup. A lot of people don't realize the vast majority of the pictures that they see of the president, he's wearing tons and tons of makeup, and the still images have been modified and doctored. And this woman who works at CNN, since it's okay to talk about CNN now, just to be clear, since Donald Trump has gone on CNN, did a presidential town hall, and now regularly on his Truth Social quotes CNN, it is okay now to talk about CNN. And this is Essie Cupp. She used to work for Fox News, and she had nothing but glowing things to say about Kayleigh McEnany, even though she disagrees with her. This is from her days at Fox News, when she was playing the game over there, which is what it was all about. And of course, the last shining jewel is, of course, the whole Walmart Melania thing. Please, oh please, let them be continually stupid enough to go after the First Lady of Florida, who has been nothing but the epitome of grace and dignity under fire. Now, this should really make you scratch your head. Trump welcomes Nikki Haley into the 2024 race. The more the merrier. That's interesting. Every other guy that has entered the race, Trump has decided to be vicious with. And he's even been vicious with his own former press secretary. So you know it's not a woman thing. So I wonder what's going on. You see, there's a new report out there now that Trump has it narrowed down to 4 women who are going to be his vice president. Now, who remembers this channel only a couple of weeks ago saying that it's going to be women that decide the next election? Even Trump knows this. He's got it narrowed down to Kari Lake, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Nikki Haley, or Kristi Noem. And right now, there's probably going to be a contest for who can crap all over DeSantis the most. And right now, Nikki Haley is leading that group. This is Axios. Kari Lake, among 4 women Trump's considering for VP pick. Trump's even gone so far on his own Truth Social as to begin quoting Mediaite. Mediaite quoting Fox, no less. So I guess this would be my question. Ladies, when you look for a man that you would maybe want to have children with, would you want that man to set an example for them? Would you want that man to give them a role model to follow so that they would know the right way to be a man in the world? Would you teach them that words don't mean anything when your actions don't match them? Would you want them sitting at a table where there's ideas and opportunities, not just people sitting around talking crap? I think most women would want that. And I think most men would want to say, that's the kind of father I want to be. Is it? You see, actions are going to speak louder than words. 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, kids come back and say, "What, Dad, why did you vote for Donald Trump?" I didn't understand it. I was 6, 7 years old at the time. And now I look back and I've seen everything. And as a man now, I don't understand. You taught me all of these values, these good moral values, but this guy didn't live up to any of them. Why did you back him? How could you have voted for someone or supported someone like this when there were other options? So, anyway, I will leave it there. Especially when it comes to this. I mean, pot calling the kettle black. So, I will leave it there. But God bless all of you. I very much appreciate it. All of your support, especially over at Patreon. Lots and lots of you have stepped up over there. But to put that in context, way less than 2% of my YouTube audience is actually present at my Patreon. If you look at the numbers, how many subscribers I have here, it's less than 2%. So, would love to have a lot more of you over there. Would focus my content over there much more than here. If we could build into the 3 to 4 to 5% range. Absolutely, for sure. So, if you can do it, I would very much appreciate it. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.